Hi, thanks for tuning in. Today I have a really exciting video. I have made a recent purchase. It's the first luxury watch purchase I've made in several years, and I shared in my luxury wish list video for 2021 that I was in the market for another watch. I didn't expect to come across the dream watch that I wanted so quickly, but it happened and I did not want to miss out on it, so I went ahead and picked it up, and I will share that and share the story, share some of my experience of how I went about it, in hopes that it can help you make a better decision if you're in the market for a new watch. But if you're tuning in for the first time, hi, I'm Katie. I do luxury fashion videos here on YouTube. I share hauls and review videos so that we can all mindfully curate our collections. So if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below with your favorite part. I sort of feel like I look like I'm about to go fishing. But anyway, I still wanted, I wanted to wear a hat today. That's just what I was feeling. I also went to the flower market and picked up these gorgeous peonies. You might know by now that peonies are my favorite flower, and usually I get them in light pink or white. But we are pretty much in peony season right now, which is why there's this beautiful kind of mid-tone pink color. They also had like an anemone color. It was like a purpley, darker color, which I was very tempted to get, but because it is spring, I did want to go for a little bit of a lighter color. I feel like there are some tones of this in my hair, which is really fun too. Anyway, I'm sure everyone's like wanting to know about the watch, right? Probably from the title, you know what brand it's from. I picked up my first Rolex, and this is like the Rolex box that it comes in. Because I know some people want to see the piece itself, I'll share the piece first and then share the story and my experience and all of that stuff, and my rationale, if you will. I feel like I actually really liked the angle of the talking hands, where I used that angle for a couple of weeks when I wasn't fully on camera. And I feel like that might be a good angle to incorporate. So I did a little unboxing segment in that angle so you can better see the item. So I'm going to insert that here and come right back. So you saw from that segment a little sneak peek of the piece that I got, but it's in here, this beautiful green box, or like signature green box, I should say. So here is the green box, and inside, ta-da! So I decided to go with the Rolex DateJust model. This is in the 36mm. It's an OysterPerpetual bracelet style with a white dial, the Roman numerals on the dial, and a smooth bezel. I think those are all of the details. It's an automatic movement, so there's no need for changing out any batteries or anything like that. And I just pretty much instantly fell in love. I wore my Cartier, and I recently shared like a more in-depth review of my Cartier piece and the wear and tear on it. So if you're curious to see more details of this piece, I'll leave that video up above and in the description box. So here it is on my wrist, and I think it looks really great. Well, I guess so, because I bought it. You might think otherwise, but this is the 36mm on my wrist. I have about a 7-inch wrist, I believe. So that's for general size reference. And I only needed to take one link out of the standard bracelet. And here it is. I will try to insert some more close-ups as well, or at least like a picture so you can see it fully on my wrist. I think I'm gonna keep it on for the rest of this video. So if you watched my luxury wish list video for 2021, you may have seen that I was in the market for a new watch because I wanted to commemorate my birthday this year with it. Survived 2020, going strong in 2021, and also hitting a milestone birthday. So I figured 2021 would be a good year to add another watch to my collection. I had never really had the itch to add another luxury watch. Ever since I got my Cartier piece, I wore that pretty much day in and day out for the last 4 or 5 years, and I loved it, so I never felt the urge. But for the first time, as I was approaching 2021, I was starting to get that little itch. So I figured I would take it slow because my birthday is in October, and I really didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know if I wanted to get a Rolex or if I wanted to get like an Audemars Piguet, or what brand, like a Jaeger. Like, there's so many luxury brands when it comes to watches, and that world is like such a complex world, right? I figured, you know, I would start towards the beginning of the year to start looking at watches, figuring out maybe which one I wanted, what styles I wanted, because I didn't have like a direct, I didn't really have much guidance either. Like, so usually how I like to shop and add things to my collection, I will have some sort of hunch. I'll feel like there's some sort of gap. I will feel like maybe I need like a mid-size bag. Like that would be it. So then I start looking for mid-size bags, and then maybe the color will, maybe there'll be a color kind of overlaid in there, so maybe like a darker color or something like that. And like, I go very directionally. It usually starts pretty vague, and it like crystallizes as I start looking for things in the market and like what's available and all that stuff. So when it came to watches, I really didn't have too much of an idea. I did think I wanted to go for a style that might be a little bit more casual, and a little bit larger than the one I already have, because my Cartier is pretty small and it has a leather strap. So I was thinking maybe something that's a little bit bigger, maybe like more a metal strap or stainless steel or whatever might be better. But I wasn't fully married on that idea. That was just an initial thought. I figured I would start there to start looking. And then I figured out what my budget was going to be. My budget was under 10K. So at that price point, I pretty much had to rule out retail, like brand new two-tone watches. Two-tone means it would be stainless steel and some sort of metal. And then of course it would rule out all sorts of solid gold watches, which was okay. Like I said, I was looking for something a little bit more casual, so I wasn't that upset that I didn't want, like, that I wouldn't get a two-tone. If I did really want a two-tone, I could look on the pre-loved market and go through the inventory there and see if there was something that I liked. Personally, for me right now, two-tone really reminds me of my parents and their watches, so I'm not that huge on two-tone. And I know that this is a piece that I plan to have for many, many, many years to come, but I figured, I don't know, I figured I just didn't need a two-tone, and that I could potentially get a two-tone in the future if I really wanted to add that to my collection. I wasn't hell-bent on getting one that had gold in it. Gold, rose gold, white, whatever, any kind of gold in it. Just to get an idea of watches, I started looking online on like Torno and just general websites to see what kind of watch styles exist. I was leaning a little bit towards Rolex because on my wish list video, so many of you were like, you should get a Rolex, you need to get a Rolex, you won't regret it. So that was kind of like echoing in the back of my mind while I was doing my search, because I felt like, you know, it might actually be a good time to get one. Not that I'm getting it for like investment purpose or anything like that, but I feel like it would be a good piece to have to my collection. And Rolex is like a really, it's like a household name, you know, like in the watch industry. It's like it's just so like, it's really iconic, it's really classic. So I did start looking through the styles to understand which one I might like. And all of this was happening pretty much online. And from other people's unboxing videos and people that I know in my life, like I know they have so many different faces. So there's like mother of pearl, and there can be, there's a recently, I think it's called the Jubilee face or something like that. It says Rolex, 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 like on the face. And there's like a, what is it? It was like a graphite or a rhodium or something like that. There are so many different kinds of faces. I already knew that I wouldn't really want one that had a lot of color, because I know like a lot of times people will get like one that has like a pink face or like a mother of pearl that has that sheen to it. That wasn't really what I was looking for. My hunch was that that's not quite the style that I wanted. I felt like it was a little bit too feminine, if that makes sense. So I wasn't really leaning on that. And I also knew that I liked the smooth bezel. The more classic and iconic Rolex look, I think, is the fluted bezel. And it, you know, it reflects the light and it looks really cool, but again, it reminds me of my parents, and I did not want to go down that route. It just felt a little too old for me, and I just really like the clean look that a smooth bezel has. So at this point, based on my like internet search, I was like, okay, I think I might be leaning towards a Rolex. I'm not 100% sold on that. Like I'm interested in looking at other brands as well. But the Rolex would be great, and a smooth bezel is definitely what I want. And I don't think I really want a face that has a lot of color on it. Oh, and then there's the OysterPerpetual and the DateJust. The DateJust has the date on it, and the OysterPerpetual is pretty much the same face without the date. And I wasn't super married on either style, but my Cartier doesn't have the date, so I figured maybe if this is going to be more of a daily watch, then maybe I would want to put, maybe I'd want to get the DateJust. Directionally, I was like, okay, Rolex is something I want to explore. DateJust, smooth bezel. That's pretty much like as far as I got. Saw that I went to Watches of Switzerland, and I tried out some watches there to get a sense of overall sizing. I thought the 36 millimeter would be too big, so I was originally looking at 33 millimeters. And the 33 looks really great as well, but the 33 to me overall, like the general ambiance and the feel, it felt very similar to the Cartier that I had. It's different, it's a different size, it's a different watch, so I'm not saying it's like the same, but because my Cartier is like really small and the 33 didn't look that big on my wrist, if that makes sense, it kind of felt overall like it was looking like a Ballon Bleu on my wrist. So I wasn't quite sure if the 33 was the right size. I know they technically make a 34, but I feel like those are overall pretty rare to find in the boutique, in any boutique really. So the 34 I kind of skipped over, and it's like it's a very minimal difference on the wrist. So then I tried the 36, and even in my vlog, the two-tone that was on this wrist was a 36. And I tried it, and I felt like it was a really good size, because I was looking for something more casual, and I was looking for something a bit different from what I already had. I felt like the 36 was a good size. My dad feels like a 36 millimeter is a little too big for a woman to wear. And he grew up in a generation where it was sort of like 36 mil is for men, and you know, smaller is for a woman. So I think he's a little bit stuck on that. But I really feel like for my wrist that it doesn't look too big. I don't think it's overwhelming at all. And honestly, when I opened up the box again to do this video, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. And it's actually not that big as I remembered it to be. So it really isn't like that massive. I think it's an appropriate, well, I mean, I think anybody should get whatever they want. You want to wear 41 mil, just go ahead. There's no there's no real rule. So whatever feels good on your wrist and whatever you're looking, like whatever feels right for you is the right size for you to get. Watches of Switzerland shared that I'd be able to sort of design my own if it's a pretty standard Rolex design and not like the real like specialty ones. But I think if you're looking for a pretty standard DateJust, you can order through Watches of Switzerland. They will kind of request it, and then they'll let you know when that inventory comes through. So it was a great session to try out different sizes and see some different styles. You can see all the different bracelet styles and, you know, see the two-tone on your skin versus the full stainless steel and all of that. So it's really great to go to a place like Watches of Switzerland, I think, or Torno or Wempe or any of those to be able to try out a lot of different styles. While I was there, I did look at some other brands briefly. I mean, I stopped by Patek because I was curious, but I already knew Patek was out of my budget, so this was more just out of curiosity. I wanted to see. Like 10, 15 years from now, I think the next watch I want to get is a Patek. I went through the Cartier section really briefly as well, but I knew I didn't want to stay there because I knew I would get something. I was afraid I'd get something that's a little too similar to the Cartier I already have. So I wanted to branch out. That's why I spent most of my time at Rolex. Anyway, so had a good session there to try different things out. I was really not expecting it, but I walked into a London Jewelers. I wanted to walk in to just see what kind of inventory they had and also to see if I could try out some different styles, because you could try out watches to get a size estimate for your wrist, but depending on whether it's two-tone or stainless steel or, you know, full solid gold, like I feel like it looks a little bit different and it can feel a little bit different. We were just walking by the London Jewelers and we figured we'd just pop in to see what kind of inventory they had. Now, most of the retailers have very limited inventory. They've been kind of flying off the shelves, so to speak. But at London Jewelers, they actually had this specific style. So I purchased my watch from London Jewelers. I had never really heard of them, to be honest. I think they're mostly based in Long Island. They have more boutiques there. They have one boutique in Manhattan, which is in the Oculus. They are a family-owned business since 1929. And the service overall was really great there. They helped take one of the links off of the watch, and they gave like the link and all of the little tags and everything in the box with me, so I have all of that paperwork. Rolexes come with a 5-year warranty, and they basically fill out the warranty card with the date of purchase right there. And they were like, if you have any issues or anything like that, come back to us and then we'll help deal with any kind of warranty things that would have to happen. Yeah, so they have other brands of watches. They have like Longines, and they had some Panerai, Bell & Ross, and Nomos as well. But in terms of like real high-end watch, like Rolex was the kind of main brand that they carried, at least in this boutique. And that's when I saw this. So just to check again, they had a few, they had an OysterPerpetual that was 33 mil. So I tried that on just to try the size reference again. And I saw this 36, so I tried this 36 on, and oh my gosh. It was like right when I put it on, I'm like, this feels like a watch. This feels like a really good watch. And it had a plain white face and Roman numerals. And I just fell in love, because there are some dials that will have just the lines instead of any sort of number on the face, and I think I much prefer having Roman numerals on the watch face versus having just the lines. Man, but this had everything I was looking for. It was a 36 millimeter OysterPerpetual bracelet, the smooth bezel, non-colored dial, and it had Roman numerals. So I don't know, I just put it on and I was like, oh, it just feels really good. So then the next debate came into my brain. I was like, Well, I haven't tried that many other brands yet, first of all. My birthday is really far away, so is it like too early to get something right now? Because it seems a little ridiculous. And so I was like thinking back and forth. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Well, the Oculus, no, not the Oculus. The Brookfield place has an Omega boutique. The Omega boutique is like right next to the Louis Vuitton. I decided to actually stop by the Omega boutique to try on their Constellation timepiece because that also looks like a really beautiful piece. So I actually left London Jewelers. I went to Omega. I tried on the Constellation. I didn't like it. That bracelet doesn't feel as comfortable as this one does. I'm going to be honest. Like, as soon as I put it on, I know it wasn't sized, but this one wasn't sized when I was trying it either, right? So I was just trying it on and I just felt like the watch didn't mold very well to my wrist as much. I don't know, it just wasn't getting that same yummy feeling that I did get when I tried this one on. I was just debating on so many other things, like my birthday's so far away and like it's too early to get it, you know? So after I tried the Omega boutique, I kind of thought about it. I decided to go ahead and get it. Clearly, because it's here right now. I know it's really early for my birthday. I even thought about putting it away until it is my birthday. But then I also thought like the warranty begins now, so might as well just start wearing it. I don't know. I haven't taken it out until today. Like today's the first day I took it out since I got it a couple weeks ago. But I just decided to go ahead and get it. I am the type of person who, when I sort of get into something, I get into it really fast and then I usually know what I like, so I'll go for it when I find it. And I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to find it again. They would be either gone or like really difficult to find at that point. I know it's a really basic model, so probably not as difficult. Like I could have maybe ordered one through Watches of Switzerland. I don't know. At that moment, I just felt like I wanted to get it. I felt like I found the watch that I wanted, and why delay, or like why risk not being able to get it and not being able to find it if I know that I like it. So all of that kind of went through my brain and I just decided to get it. So it's a very early birthday gift to myself. But also I wanted to enjoy it during the summertime as well, because my Cartier is sort of wearing a little too much, and I feel like in the summertime with all the sweat and all of that stuff, it might not be that great. So anyway, if you did watch my vlog video though, you will see that there is another surprise potentially. So I have to see how some of that works out. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to share about the story time, my rationale, and the new timepiece in my collection. I thank all of you guys really for highly recommending Rolex to me. Not that I wouldn't have thought of it, not that I didn't want it, but when I think of Rolex, I really do think of my parents. So I didn't want, like, the association was pretty strong. So I didn't know if I'd want to get a Rolex yet. But I don't know, the more I thought about it, I was like, actually, there are different styles that I can get that can be much more me and not feel like they're like my parents' watch, and I think that's worth it. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing video. I hope you also found my whole like story and rationale helpful. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave those down below or head on over to Instagram and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. If you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post new fashion related videos every Sunday and Wednesday. So until next time,